Part 1. The Day I Met Her. I never believed in love at first sight. Not because I thought it was stupid, but because life had already taught me not to expect beautiful things to last. I was 26 when I met Emily. It was late October in Portland, the kind of evening when the city smells like wet leaves and cold coffee. I had just finished a double shift at the auto repair shop and stopped at a small cafe near the river. Not because I wanted coffee, but because I didn't want to go home yet. That's when I saw her. She was sitting by the window, knees pulled to her chest, staring outside as if she was waiting for someone who was already late. She wore an oversized gray sweater. Her hair was messy, like she hadn't tried to make it perfect, and somehow that made her perfect. When she looked up, our eyes met. She smiled. Not the kind people give out of politeness, the kind that feels like it was meant only for you. "Is this seat taken?" I asked, pointing to the chair across from her. She shook her head. "No, but you might regret sitting here. I talk too much." I laughed. That sounds like a warning I should ignore. That was the first time she laughed because of me. We talked for 3 hours. About nothing. About everything. She told me she had moved to Portland recently. Didn't say from where. Something about her felt fragile. Like if I asked the wrong question, she might disappear right in front of me. When the cafe closed, neither of us noticed. Outside, the air was freezing. She wrapped her arms around herself. I gave her my jacket without thinking. "You'll be cold," she said. "I'll survive." She looked at me for a moment, then nodded. "Thank you," she whispered. I didn't know it then, but that jacket would be the last thing of mine she ever touched. Part 2. When Love Felt Safe. After that night, Emily became part of my days so naturally that I couldn't remember how life looked before her. She started waiting for me near the shop after work, sometimes with coffee, sometimes with nothing but that quiet smile. We walked a lot, no destination, just streets, bridges, empty parks. She liked silence more than music, said silence told the truth better. She moved into my apartment after 3 months. Not officially. She just never left. She kept her things in one small backpack. No boxes, no photos, no past. Once I asked her, "Don't you miss home?" She froze, then smiled. "I am home," she said. I should have understood then. At night, she slept curled toward me, like she was afraid I might disappear. Sometimes she whispered my name in her sleep. Sometimes she cried, quietly, trying not to wake me. When I asked, she always said the same thing. Just bad dreams. But they didn't feel like dreams. They felt like memories. One evening, while washing dishes, I noticed something on her wrist. A thin scar, old, almost hidden. "What happened there?" I asked gently. She pulled her hand away too fast. "Nothing," she said. Then, softer, "Please don't ask me things I'm not ready to answer." So I didn't. Because when you love someone, you sometimes choose peace over truth. She had strange rules. She never used social media, never took pictures of herself, never let me meet her friends. When my coworkers invited us for dinner, she suddenly fell sick. When my sister wanted to meet her, Emily disappeared for the whole day. She always came back, always apologized, always held my face and said, "Promise me something." "What?" "If one day I'm gone, don't hate me." I laughed then. "That's not funny." "I'm serious," she said. "I won't go anywhere." She didn't smile. The night before she vanished, we lay on the floor, listening to rain hitting the windows. She traced circles on my chest. "Do you think people can belong to each other forever?" she asked. "I think they try," I said. She nodded slowly. "I wish I could stay longer." Longer than what? Nothing, she whispered. Then she kissed me like she was saying goodbye. Part 3. The night she didn't come back. Emily was supposed to be home by 9. She said she was going to walk by the river, said she needed air, said she'd be back soon. At 9:30, I texted her. No reply. At 10, I called. Straight to voicemail. By 11, I was standing by the window, staring at the street, like it could give me answers. She never came home. At first, I told myself not to panic. People get distracted. Phones die. Nights run late. But when midnight passed, something inside me broke open. Her backpack was still in the corner. Her shoes were by the door. Her toothbrush was next to mine. Everything she owned was still there, except her. I walked the streets until morning. I checked the river, the cafe, the park benches we used to sit on. I asked strangers if they had seen a woman in a gray sweater. Most shook their heads. Some didn't even look at me. At sunrise, I went to the police. They asked questions that sounded empty. How long have you known her? Where is she from? Does she have family? I had no answers. I didn't even know her last name. The officer wrote it down slowly, then looked at me. That makes this difficult. Days passed, then weeks. Her phone was never turned on again. No bank activity, no records, no digital footprint. It was like she had never existed, except in my apartment, except in my bed, except in my heart. I slept on the couch after that. The bedroom felt haunted. Sometimes I thought I heard her breathing. Sometimes I woke up reaching for someone who wasn't there. The silence became violent. I put up missing posters. I posted online forums. I walked shelters, hospitals, train stations. Every woman with brown hair made my heart stop. Every wrong face felt like another small death. 3 months later, the police closed the case. Voluntary disappearance, they said. She likely wanted to start over. Start over? With nothing? Without saying goodbye? Without her backpack? Without me? One night, I found something behind the dresser, a folded piece of paper. My hands shook as I opened it. Handwriting. If you're reading this, it means I didn't have the courage to say goodbye in person. Please believe me when I say this. I loved you more than I knew was possible. But love doesn't always mean staying. I'm sorry. That was all. No explanation, no destination, no future. H1, Part 4, Years of Looking. I didn't move on. People told me I should. Gently at first, then with frustration. She's gone. You did everything you could. You're ruining your life. But how do you move on from someone who disappeared without ending the story? So I kept looking. I changed jobs, moved cities. I followed rumors like they were breadcrumbs. A woman who looked like her in Seattle, someone with her voice in San Francisco, a nurse who swore she'd seen her in Reno. Every lead ended the same way. Not her. Never her. I stopped dating. Not because I didn't try, but because no one felt real. When someone laughed, it wasn't her laugh. When someone touched my hand, it felt wrong. Love had frozen in time. 5 years passed, then 7. I turned 33, with her name still saved in my phone. Sometimes, on nights when the world felt too quiet, I typed messages I never sent. I'm still here. I'm still here. Did you survive? Do you ever think of me? The messages stayed unsent, like prayers with no God. HR. One winter afternoon, while working at a small repair shop in Idaho, a woman came in with a broken headlight. I didn't look up at first. Then she spoke. Excuse me? My chest tightened. The voice wasn't hers, but it was close enough to hurt. HR. She noticed the old missing poster pinned behind my desk. The paper was yellow, the photo faded. "That's a long time ago," she said softly. "Yeah," I replied. "She vanished." The woman hesitated, then said something that made my hands go numb. "I think I knew her." We sat in silence for a moment. Then she told me. Emily had been in a women's shelter years ago. Not in Portland, in Nevada. She used a different name. She was running from an abusive past, from a man who had once nearly killed her. She believed that if she stayed, he would eventually find her. Anyone close to her would be in danger, including me. "She talked about you," the woman said, "all the time. She said you were the first place she ever felt safe." My throat burned. "Then why did she leave?" The woman swallowed. "Because safety with someone you love can be the most dangerous thing when your past knows how to track you." She gave me one last thing, a hospital name, a year, and a pause before she said she didn't make it long after that. Part 5, Where Love Ends. I drove to Nevada the next morning, 8 hours on the road, no music, no stops, just memories replaying like they were trying to prepare me for something I didn't want to know. The hospital was small, old, quiet, the kind of place where people don't come to be saved, they come to be remembered. At the front desk, I said her name. Both of them, the one I knew and the one she had used before me. The nurse typed slowly, then looked up. "I'm sorry." Those 2 words landed heavier than anything else. She had been admitted after a severe panic episode. Years of fear, years of running. Her heart simply couldn't carry it anymore. She died alone, but not unloved. They gave me a small envelope. Inside was a letter. My name was written on it. The handwriting shook. "If you're reading this, it means I didn't survive long enough to come back. Please don't blame yourself. You were the best thing that ever happened to me. I left because I loved you, because loving you made me want to live, and I was afraid my past would use that against us. I used to imagine coming back when everything was safe. I imagined knocking on your door and pretending I never left. But some people don't get that ending. If love leaves pain behind, please don't let that pain turn you cold. You showed me what peace feels like. Thank you for that. Emily." I sat in my car for hours. Didn't cry. Couldn't. Grief doesn't always scream. Sometimes it just sits beside you and never leaves. I went back to Portland one last time. To the river, to the cafe, to the bench where we once talked until closing time. I left my jacket there, the one I gave her the first night. People say time heals. They're wrong. Time doesn't heal. It teaches you how to carry the weight without collapsing. Again. But sometimes, when the city smells like wet leaves and cold coffee, I swear I feel her sitting beside me, smiling, waiting.